Hello and welcome to my channel Matrix. In this video we will see some methods to compare fractions. So let's go. Sometimes we need to compare two fractions to discover which is bigger or smaller. There are two main ways to compare fractions, using decimals or using the same denominator. Let's see the decimal method to compare fractions. For example, which is bigger, 2/8 or 3/7? To answer this question, we need to convert each fraction to decimals, and then we compare the decimals. So, 2/8 equals 0.25, and 3/7 equals 0.42857. As shown here, 3/7 is bigger. Now, comparing fractions with the same denominator method. When two fractions have the same denominator, they are easy to compare. For example, a 3/8 is less than 7/8 because 3 is less than 7. We just compare numerators. Okay? But when the denominator are not the same, we need to make them the same using equivalent fractions. For example, which is bigger, 3/7 or 5/14? Using the equivalent fractions, we have 3/7 equals 6/14. We just multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2. Now we have the same denominator, and we can see that 6/14 is bigger than 5/14. Now, if it's difficult to make the denominators the same by using equivalent fractions, there are two main methods: least common denominator method and common denominator method. What is the least common denominator? The least common denominator is the smallest of all the common denominators. How do we find it? We list multiples of denominators of each fractions. Then we find the smallest number of multiples that is the same, and we choose the least common denominator. Let's do an example. Which is bigger, 3/4 or 5/6? Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and 30. And multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36. The smallest number of multiples that is the same is 12, as shown here. Now, let's change each fraction to make their denominators the same as the least common denominator. So, 3/4 becomes 9/12, and 5/6 becomes 10/12. Now we have the same denominator, and we can see that 10/12 is bigger than 9/12. Finally, 5/6 is bigger than 3/4. Common denominator method. What is the common denominator method? The common denominator method is when we multiply each fraction by the denominator of the other. Let's do this example. Which is bigger, 5/11 or 3/7? We multiply 5/11 by the denominator of 3/7, which is 7. We get 35/77. We multiply 3/7 by the denominator of 5/11, which is 11, and we get 33/77. Now we can compare 35/77 and 33/77 because they have the same denominator, which is 77. And we can see that 35/77 is bigger than 33/77. Finally, 5/11 is bigger than 3/7. Example number 2. Which is bigger, 5/13 or 1/3? For the answer, we multiply 5/13 by the denominator of 1/3, which is 3, and we get 15/39. And we multiply 1/3 by the denominator of 5/13, which is 13, and we get 13/39. Now we can compare 15/39 and 13/39 because they have the same denominator, which is 39. And we can see that 15/39 is bigger than 13/39. Finally, 5/13 is bigger than 1/3. Exercise. Find which is bigger, 5/16 or 7/24, using the least common denominator method and the common denominator method. For the answer, method number 1. We list multiples of denominators of each fractions. Multiples of 16 are 16, 32, 48, 64, and 18. Multiples of 24 are 24, 48, 72, and 96. Now we choose the smallest number of multiples that is the same. As shown here, it's 48. Let's change each fraction to make their denominators the same as the least common denominator. We get 15/48 and 14/48. Now we have the same denominator, and we can see that 15/48 is bigger than 14/48. Finally, 5/16 is bigger than 7/24. Method number 2. We multiply 5/16 by the denominator of 7/24, which is 24. We get 120/384. We multiply 7/24 by the denominator of 5/16, which is 16, and we get 112/384. Now we can compare 120/384 and 112/384 because they have the same denominator, which is 384. And we can see that 180 384th is bigger than 112 384th. Finally, 5/16 is bigger than 7/24th. We notice that the least common denominator method gives a simpler result than the common denominator method. It's all for this part, comparing fractions. Looking forward to see you for other videos. Bye.